Welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about records I liked in the 90s, how I discovered them, what I thought to them, and kind of what I think of them today. So without much further ado, let's crack on. First up, it has to be the band that changed everything for me really going forward. Guns N' Roses. I first discovered Guns N' Roses probably through Appetite for Destruction, which was out in the 80s, but I learnt about it in the 90s because when I was at 13 years old, I think, so about 91 maybe. Anyway, that led me straight up to Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2. These albums were everything to me at that time in my life. I've probably played these albums more than most others I own over the years, that's for sure. Certainly when these were out for the first few years, never left my player. Though I had the CDs, because CDs were the rage. I've since purchased the vinyl in many, many formats, variant editions. But Use Your Illusion. Some of my favourite tracks. It's argued that there is one great album across the two, but whilst I could probably pick 15 tracks that I love, I'd have to lose 15 tracks that add so much more to their history, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, Right Next Door to Hell, Perfect Crime, Live and Let Die cover, November Rain, The Garden of Eden, Coma, oh my god, Dead Horse, Don't Damn Me, Double Talking Jive. I mean, so many great tracks. And having even mentioned Back Off Bitch, Bad Obsession, You Ain't the First. I mean, it really is such a great album. And then Bad Apples and Don't Cry Original. Excellent. But I do think Illusion 2 is my favourite, ironically. Getting a bit record heavy over here. Illusion 2, Civil War, Knocking on Heaven's Door, the Bob Dylan cover. The live version is incredible. Get in the Ring. I loved that as a kid, still love it now. Estranged, You Could Be Mine, Arnold. My World, which I know is Marmite for some people, but I liked it. It's weird because arguably I prefer more tracks on Illusion 1, but I preferred Illusion 2. Go figure. How do I feel about these albums now? Well, quite honestly, they're still amazing. I don't play them as much because I know them inside out. But great albums. They were the turning point of my music taste, that is for sure. A young 13-year-old was very happy at that point in time. Next up, I have Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood. This is a reissue. Now, this came out in 1989, but I didn't start discovering rock till after Guns N' Roses. And very quickly, Motley Crue popped up. Kickstart My Heart. Same old situation. I think that was the track that grabbed me. She Goes Down, Don't Go Away Mad, Time for Change is still such an epic song. Dr. Feelgood, obviously, Rattlesnake Shakes. It was such a good album, And I remember getting into Motley Crue around then, and then I think they released, did they release it? I think they did, 91, Decade of Decadence, which was an amazing compilation. What I'd give to have that on vinyl now. Can't get it, well, unless you play a pretty penny, but I'd wish they reissue it, and I doubt they will. I mean, they reissue everything else, why not? But I remember getting into Motley Crue, and then Vince left, and Vince left, and we got John Corabi, who, do you know what? It just wasn't Motley Crue. It was a great record, and on reflection, it was a top record, but it just wasn't Motley. But I don't think they really play anything from that era now anyway. But Motley Crue got me in. Close behind it became Skid Row, again from 1989. This fly is going to do my head in, I can tell. Hot Weather, Skid Row, great album. Youth Gone Wild, Making a Mess, Rattlesnake Shake, Big Guns, Sweet Little Sister. Yeah, these were my teenage years. Again, discovered this a few years after its release. Immediately followed with Slave to the Grind, which is arguably even better. Monkey Business, Slave to the Grind, Quicksand Genus, Get the Fuck Out, which I'm sure we all played at a party or two. Riot Act, amazing album. Amazing album. So what came next for me? Well, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. I remember in these, I've tried to put them in the order I discovered them. Not everything, it's a little hazy up there now, it's been a few years, but these were one of my favourite bands at the time. It was just so different to anything I had listened to before, all funky. Give It Away is obviously on MTV all the time, that's what caught my attention. Suck My Kiss, Naked in the Rain, Under the Bridge, that was on MTV constantly. That's when they played music videos. Do you remember that? So Psycho Sexy, They're Red Hot, The Power of Equality, If You Have to Ask, All Breaking the Girl. Yeah, just such a great album. Do you know what? I need to listen to this again. I need to listen to this again because the Chili's have gone in a completely different direction since then. But that was I think that was their breakthrough album. Because then what followed, I believe, was What Hits, which was a compilation of the stuff previous to that. So when I was younger, I just thought this was an album. I didn't really realise it was a compilation of what came before at the time. I played this not too long back, actually, and I still love it. I still love it. I think certain albums for the 90s, they just hit different because they are ingrained in you. I mean, tracks on this include, it's just, my eyesight's really bad because it's small. Fight Like a Brave, Behind the Sun, Me and My Friends, Backwards, Tremendo Kill Coyotes, Fire, the Jimi Hendrix cover, Under the Bridge, obviously. That's probably when it twigged it was a compilation. The Brothers Curp, If You Have to Ask, Knock Me Down, Get Up and Jump, Naked in the Rain, Hollywood, Jungle Man. Oh, so many great tracks. Great tracks. I do like the Chili's, even now, but I like their earlier stuff. And I've since gone back to the records those tracks are on, and there's some great stuff on those records. Then I remembered a band that I thought would end up becoming one of my favourite bands ever. I wouldn't say they did, but Green Day and Dookie. I loved this record. Again, had it on CD, since bought it on vinyl and vinyl box set. We all know the tune of the time, Basket Case, that's the one that got me. Welcome to Paradise, Longview, Chump, When I Come Around. High school years. And I lost interest in them pretty much after this album. I did discover American Idiot about a decade after it come out. It's not that I discovered it, I just ignored it at the time. But I've since gone back and gone, yeah, it's a good album. But Dookie, for me, was definitely part of my teens. A big part. Loved this record to death at the time. Then came a band that I kind of struggled with initially. I think there was this whole big MTV thing, and they were kind of rivals to my favourite band at the time, Guns N' Roses. And I felt a bit sort of like, I don't know if I can like them. It's a bit like the Blur Oasis thing, isn't it? But Nirvana. And I came to love Nirvana and understand Nirvana. And I actually like the tracks that, I love Teen Spirit and Come As You Are and In Bloom. They're great songs. But for me, you cannot beat, there's Lithium as well, isn't there? Territorial Pissings, Drain You and Lounge Act. What a 3-track lineup that is there. In fact, whole of side B. In fact, there's not a bad track on this album, but Lounge Act, Drain You and Territorial Pissings. Love, 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 love. So that got me into Nirvana. Then went through their compilation, which was Incesticide, which I loved to death. I haven't included it here because it wasn't an album. It was just a mishmash of stuff, but it had Sliver on it and a bunch of other things. But honourable mention. Then Incesticide, which ended up being their last album. Heart-Shaped Box. I remember at the time, I don't think this album was really that popular. I think everyone wanted Nevermind too, but I think obviously Kurt passed and this gained more traction. Is that the word? Gained more traction? I might be wrong, but that's how I remember it. Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge on Seattle. Amazing. Pennyroyal Tea. All Apologies. Serve the Servants. Some top songs on it, yet again. I do wonder what we might have got. I do wonder what else we might have got. Then, though this band I believe came around before Nirvana, I, like many people, discovered them afterwards. And they were an MTV favourite yet again. I'll be honest, I have come to like them more the last few years than I did at the time. Pearl Jam. Now, what tracks are on here? Alive, obviously, Jeremy. Yeah, they're the two. Even Flow. Alive, I said. Yeah. Weren't a big fan at the time. More of a fan now. Fan's probably the wrong word. I appreciate the album. I really like this album now. Ahead of its time. Another album, no questions. I played this to death and loved it. And I think it was because, I think it was probably Aerosmith and Run DMC that got my attention. Loving an Elevator as well. And yeah, Aerosmith, Get a Grip. I still think, even though it was late into their career for me at that point, I still think this is one of the strongest albums they ever made. Don't think much has touched this since. And it also came the amazing videos with Alicia Silverstone and Liv Tyler, which were, I believe, Crying, Crazy, and Amazing. I think they were the three. But also on this, you got Eat the Rich, Get a Grip, Fever, Living on the Edge, obviously, Shut Up and Dance, Walk On Down. Some great songs. It's a great album. I still love this album. I picked it up on vinyl a few years back. White vinyl at that. And yeah, memories came flooding back. Oh, now I do love the next two albums. This band I discovered. I can't remember how. Might have been through seeing them with Guns N' Roses at Milton Keynes Bowl. Or it might have been the Runaway Train song on MTV. Hard to know. Grave Dancers Union. This is by far the best Soul Asylum album ever. Soul Asylum album ever. Can't get my words out. Somebody to Shove, Black Gold, Runaway Train, Keep It Up, Homesick, Get On Out, New World, April Fool is killer. Without a Trace, love that. It's got Winona Ryder in it. Growing Into You, 99%, and The Sun Made. Not a bad track on this album. Played this to death. So I immediately bought their follow-up, which was what was it called? Let Your Dim Light Shine. So we have Misery, great track. Shut Down, To My Own Devices, Hopes Up, Promises Broken, Bittersweet Heart, String of Pearls, Crawl, Caged Rat, Eyes of a Child, Just Like Anyone, Tune, Tell Me When, Nothing to Write Home About, and I Did My Best. Again, I don't think it was quite as strong as Grave Dancers, but it was up there. String of Pearls is an amazing track. Amazing track. As is Bitter Sweetheart and Just Like Anyone. Great. Those two albums I recommend 100%. Then, well, between Soul Asylum's albums came a band that you'll know I love. It was the Wild Hearts. This is the reissue, which I have signed. Needs Steady. Still needs Steady. Greetings from Shitsville was such an anthem for me. Love Shit. This is the thing with the Wild Hearts. Preferred their B-sides to the album tracks. Good album, but their B-sides, I first discovered them with TV Tan. Then the Caffeine Bomb single, oh my God, what a set B-sides, and The Bullshit Goes On, Girlfriend Clothes, and what was the other one? Oh, Shut Your Fucking Mouth, Use Your Fucking Brain, and Caffeine Bomb. What an EP that was. Well, it's a single, but felt like an EP. It was amazing. So that started my love affair with the Wild Hearts. And PHUQ became my kind of era. Yeah, I Want to Go Where the People Go. I think this is when they're most commercially successful. Didn't last long, but yeah, I was a Wildy fan from forevermore. I'm not going to say too much on the Wild Hearts because I've covered them numerous times already in videos. Everybody knows I love the Wild Hearts. I mean, I've still got a Ginger t-shirt on now. Then, around the same sort of time, we had Terrorvision. Now, I originally bought that album in Formaldehyde. And I remember it was in Our Price. Do you remember Our Price? It doesn't even exist now. I was in Our Price and there was a little box set and it said Free TV Guide. And being the young, naive person I was at the time, I was like, why are they giving like the Radio Times away or something? Or TV Times, you know? But it meant Terrorvision Guide as a booklet. Anyway, after that, Formaldehyde was good, but it had a sound to it that I was like, yeah, I like the tracks. But then they released Regular Urban Survivors, which I would kill for on vinyl. Again, I had it all on CD. I can't even remember what was on that now. It's been so long. But that was a good album. But they soon followed it with How to Make Friends and Influence People, which is arguably their most popular album. Alice, What's the Matter, Oblivion, Discotheque Wreck, Middleman, Pretend Best Friend, Time of the Signs, Some People Say. I mean, that's a lot of singles right there. I'm pretty certain there's 5 or 6 singles on this record. Recently got Tone to sign it for me, as I mentioned before. Epic, epic album. Gotta love Terrorvision. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if this band supported them at some point. They supported every other band I was seeing on the scene at that time. A band that I just learnt today actually did several more albums after this and reformed in the 2000s, and I think they've got a new single out now, which I've not heard actually. But there was it was weird. They were a band to me that stood out when you saw them live, and it's a good solid album, but it never really hit, and that was Skin. I mean, the original price of this was apparently £8.79, and I picked it up in the sale for £1.99. So, yeah, so I did buy that at the time. I think that's 1993, it says on there, which would make sense. So, around the Wild Hearts time that I discovered them. It's great tracks. Money, Colourblind, House of Love, Tower of Strength. It's a solid album. I urge you to check it out, but it's just of its time. But they supported everyone I can't remember who they supported. I just know they supported a lot of people because they were always popping up. I was like, Skin. But I never saw them headline. I never saw them in their own right. But yeah, it was fascinating to find out they still carried on doing a bit afterwards. Then came another band. Now, I'd heard of these. Obviously, I've heard the classics. I'd heard Living on a Prayer, Bad Medicine. I can't remember others. Wanted Dead or Alive, yeah. But this was the album that did it for me. I was just the right age when it came out. Keep the Faith. Loved Keep the Faith, I believe. I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. What a track. Bed of Roses, Dry County, Woman in Love, Blame It on the Love of Rock and Roll. It was just a solid album. And Bon Jovi had his new look. And what year was that? What year? I can't see, because obviously I didn't buy, it says 2016 on you, which is the reissue day. I think this was about 94, 95, maybe 93, I can't remember. But I became a big Bon Jovi fan for a few years, and then went on to buy These Days, Hey God, Something for the Pain, This Ain't a Love Song, These Days, My Guitar Lies Bleeding in My Arms, If I Had to Let You Go, Something to Believe In. Yeah, don't know the others, can't remember the others, I'll know them. Worthy follow-up. I don't think it hit quite as well, but it was a worthy follow-up. I think Always came out on the best of after this on Crossroads, and that was the other time. It was kind of after the best of and the Blaze of Glory stuff that I kind of stopped following Bon Jovi until recently, and went back and got their back catalogue. And do you know what? They still made some really good stuff. I just moved on to other things at the time. Now, this is an album I've revisited, and I saw these many, many times headlining. I think I saw them in support. Who did they support? I feel like they supported Guns N' Roses, but I might be mistaken. Or Bon Jovi, maybe. Maybe it was Bon Jovi. Milton Keynes Bowl, perhaps? Someone can tell me in the comments. Little Angels. What a band. What a band. And they've reformed this year. They're going to be doing some live dates, which I will probably miss because I don't think I'm in the country. But Too Much Too Young, Soapbox, Womankind, Sail Away, Tired of Waiting for You, So Tired. My speech has gone to kaput. But yeah, Little Angels jam. I remember I bought Little of the Past on CD, and they had Too Posh to Mosh, and then they re-released it as Too Good to Last. Too Posh to Mosh, Too Good to Last. They had the Young Gods album. They had another one I can't remember the name of. I've since gone back and got everything, but I had CDs at the time. But this album, Little Angels, man oh man, it's a shame they went their own ways. I think the other members did a band called Blow at the time, but I never bought it. I think it was a picture of a sheep or a cow on the front, if I remember correctly. Somebody else can tell me that in the comments. But I never listened to Blow. I've heard a bit of Toby Jepson's stuff since, but it's one of those cases where you just want to hear Little Angels. It's crazy how a band can hit so well and then they're gone. But they're back. And I would love to see them. Then the era changes. I go a bit more indie. Alanis Morissette. Wow, I think everyone and their dog owned this album. All I Really Want, You Ought to Know, Perfect, Hand in My Pocket. I mean, that's an opening right there, isn't it? Mary Jane, Head Over Feet, Not the Doctor. Ironic. How ironic, I nearly missed it. I don't need to say anything. It's as good now as it was then. It's a bit whiny on reflection. She did whine. She liked a good whine. But it's just 90s. You know, it's a classic 90s. Love that album. Recently bought the reissue of this in a box set, but this was a reissue of the original came with cards you can put in, and the new one does. But that was the standard cover, I believe. Pulp, different class. Again, different time, different sound. Misshapes, Pencil Skirt, Common People, Disco 2000, Sorted Trees and Whiz. Oh my God, yeah. What an album. And you put this on, it just transports you back in time. These albums still have the same effect on me. They really do. They're ingrained in me. Then came an album I don't think any of us saw coming. Definitely not. You know, I'd followed enough Neighbours stars in the past, and you go, okay. You know, arguably Kylie has been incredible. Kind of up there with Madonna these days, I think. But, you know, people like Jason and Stefan Dennis and Craig McLaughlin didn't fare so well. But then came Natalie Imbruglia. Don't forget Holly Valance. She did okay for a bit. Natalie Imbruglia. Natalie Imbruglia, wow. This was just indie perfection. I remember when I've seen her a couple of times, but I saw her on this tour. And she was such a slight little thing bouncing around the indie stage with her little short kind of pixie style haircut. Oh my gosh, what a show that was. What started it? It was Torn that started it all, wasn't it? Torn. Opening track on this as well. Beautiful. Love, love, love. Big Mistake. Smoke. Wishing I Was There. Still a top album. And I've seen her since, and she's just as good, if not better. But this was, I think it was the whole look at the time, the identity, the sound, it just worked. Classic 90s album. Then comes another band who I loved again in the 90s. Still going. Don't think they really release studio stuff anymore. But my God, the stuff they released in the 90s. Ocean Colour Scene. Who didn't like The Day We Caught the Train? I had that on repeat. I'd go to the nightclub and come home and still put that on repeat while I was having a few drinks before bed. The Riverboat Song, The Circle, One for the Road, Policemen and Pirates, You've Got It Bad. Brilliant. And just down the road, Moseley Shoals from Tamworth. Well, it's a bit more than down the road, but it's not far. Then their follow-up, arguably, I wouldn't say it was quite as good, but it was up there. These are the two albums I really rate. 100 Mile High City, Traveller's Tune, Debris Road, Get Blown Away, Tell You He's Not Talking. Top album. And last but not least, somewhere in the middle of the 90s, a pop phenomenon happened. And yes, I put my hands up. I was at the age, I was at nightclubs. I remember when I first heard this song on the dance floor, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. What is this? And now I look back and, you know, it was huge. Spice Girls, which Melanie C recently signed for me, bless her. Do I listen to this? I admit, no, not really. I bought this more for nostalgic reasons than anything. But Wannabe, Two Become One, Say You'll Be There, Mama, Who Do You Think You Are? There's some great tracks on it. And it reminds me of my high school years, my university years even. And just before that, when I was at the nightclubs, and yeah, it's a time. And do you know what? It was good, fun, guilty-free music, and it's a guilty pleasure. Still love the Spice Girls, just in a nostalgic way, really. I love Melanie C and what she's gone on to do. I love her Northern Star album, as I mentioned before. So yeah, that's a little venture into my past in the 90s. And I'm not going to do recommendations today because quite simply the whole video is a recommendation. If you haven't checked out any of these albums, check them out because they're amazing. 90s music hits different. And it's weird, you go to college, universities and stuff now, and you still hear all the 90s stuff being played. And I've always thought, is this like 70s to them or the equivalent? But I think they all just think it's, I don't know, it's just classic music to them. But to me, it's like it happened yesterday. And that's what's so weird. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed going through these for you. There's definitely a few here I'm going to rip out and put on myself. But yeah, till next time. Till next time.